Hello, everyone, and welcome into the hospitality room. I'm Blair Cartwright. Please be joined by Brandon Marcello of CBS Sports. And I bet you wish you had some pink headphones, right?
Oh man,
Oh
those are great.
man, yeah. I could. The other ones, I guess, went kaput. So, oh my goodness, what a weekend for college football! You had a monumental debut. We'll talk about that as well. But all things considered, how is life treating you today?
Doing pretty well. Doing pretty well. It's football season, so I'm good.
Yes, and we are always happy. All right, let's get right to our topics, shall we? Sideline reporter debut. Check this out. Brandon, the man, on the sidelines in Springfield, working with the Missouri State SMU game. And here's a shot interviewing Rhett Lashley. What was it like doing the sidelines? Because that was the first time, right?
Yeah, first time it was very hot. It was like about 100 degrees on the field. As you can see, I'm wearing a blazer.
Yeah.
There, I sweat through two shirts. You can see the sweat coming through. See all that sweat around my
Oh my
neck, around the
gosh.
chest. Sweat came through the suit, came through the blazer. We had some technical difficulties throughout the
Oh.
game. The wireless mics weren't working very well.
Oh no.
So several of my hits, luckily, got cut off in the first half, but like right when I was ending a thought. So
Uh
it seemed like it was
huh.
natural. There was only one that really seemed unnatural because I was about to say a name, and it was my
hmm
very first opening hit after kickoff. I was providing some news about a player not playing, and I said, and he will be replaced by, and it goes quiet. You hear like, and luckily my the color analyst upstairs was able to add. It goes, and that will be Junior, Link Fields, I think it was. So, but it was a lot of fun. I'll say that, despite all the sweat, the stress, and the technical difficulties, the second half was much better. And I'll tell you what, the first half was a great game.
hmm
Missouri State got up 10-0, and it was a lot of fun. I hope they do it again.
What's the biggest difference in doing that as opposed to what you've been doing on a regular basis?
Yeah, mostly if I'm on a game, I'm in a press box, so, sitting there observing the game from an eagle's eye view, so it's easier to see things develop. When you're on the field level, you're going around trying to mostly not the you're paying attention to what's going on the field, but you're listening to what's happening in the huddle as much as you can, the environment on the sidelines, what players are saying to each other. So, for example, Missouri State got a couple of turnovers there in the first quarter. And so I'm going over there, like listening to the players and what they're saying to each other. And it's funny just how chaotic it can be. Because I remember I heard one player who forced a fumble, and then like 5 minutes later, he goes, Who got the fumble, by the way? He doesn't even know which teammate got it. He goes, Who got it? And they're like, I got it. He goes, Anderson, you got it. Yeah, man. I mean, and then you're also keeping an eye on injuries. Like I was standing outside the injury tent a couple times in this game, getting updates. You're just trying to be the eyes and ears for the fans watching on TV, but also for the guys in the booth. So I would, have a talkback button. I provide information to our producer, who would then decide whether to come to me or maybe feed some of that information over to the guys in the booth. So a lot of that, and it's just very hectic, especially when your wireless mic goes out and you only have wired mics in like one end zone, and you're having to get
Gosh.
information and run over there to try to get to the mic to deliver stuff. So, but it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun.
I would imagine it's quite the workout too because you're doing both sidelines,
Yeah.
and I mean, how do you judge which sideline to be on at each point of the game?
Sometimes it's just a guessing game, right?
hmm
And you stay on the sideline where there's some momentum, something's going on. So I was on the SMU sideline quite a bit in the second half, obviously. First half, I was pretty much just Missouri State the entire time because they were feeling it. They're getting turnovers. And then also, if someone gets injured, if you're not on that sideline, you immediately head over to the other one to see if you can get some updates on what's happening there. You're watching guys. So, for example, SMU wasn't giving really like injury updates to me. They just, for whatever reason, they wouldn't tell me. So I was just watching the players. If they gave out the injury tent, I'd watch things. So I gave one injury update on a running back. I think it was TJ Harden. He came out of the injury tent and he was kind of rotating his left shoulder a lot. So I did a hit and I just said, good news, guys. TJ Harden's out of the injury tent. He's heading back to the bench. No official report on what the injury is, but he's rotating that left shoulder quite a bit. He's sitting down now looking at the iPad. Looks like he's going to be prepared to go back in. And sure enough, he went back into the game the next drive. So, Yeah, it's just, it's like being a reporter for
Hmm.
anything else. You see, you report, you tell everybody what's going on, you give some context. And then then real quick, you go into the game also with some prepared storylines. So I found all these interesting things like SMU's quarterback Kevin Jennings was committed to Missouri State. In fact, he was
Oh,
set to
wow.
go there, and in the 11th hour, SMU was the only power school to offer him a scholarship, and they did so just by luck because Rhett Lashley was 4 days on the job. He went to a playoff game in Dallas, and they were looking at a cornerback and some receivers, and Kevin Jennings was playing quarterback, and he popped out to them. He's like, am I missing something about this quarterback? And then about 4 days later, after talking to him more and reviewing film, they went, let's offer this guy. We don't have a quarterback committed in this class yet because we just got here. Let's offer him. So he chose SMU over Missouri State, and the rest is history. So you just never
Wow.
know what kind of stories you'll see when teams meet, even when it's SMU and a team in Missouri that's just now transitioning to be an FBS school.
Wild. One final thing on sideline, because I'm intrigued by this. How much information does the school even provide you, if any? Or are you having to come up with everything?
In preparation for the game, a lot of them work very well when you ask questions going into the game, like, "Hey, tell me a little bit more about this kid or that kid." During the game, at least for this one, it was more or less just like, "Hey, we need Coach Ryan Beard after the first quarter for our in-game interview. Are you able to set that up?" And they'll do it, and they'll help bring him over. Um, but like injury updates, I did not get many. I was told like,
Okay.
"Hey, go to so and so and go to so and so and ask." And game action. I think and obviously a lot of them probably just don't want to say it. So, but that's when the reporter in you comes in. You start just watching things and everything. But you're pretty much you're down there working on your own in a lot of ways. And for a time there, because our wireless mic and also my earpiece was going in and out, I was working
Yeah.
blind and deaf for most of the first half. So it was for my first game. Uh it was terrifying, but I rewatched it and it seemed to be pretty good, and I've gotten good feedback. So I'm glad, and I hope to do it again.
Awesome. So when's the next assignment? Do you know?
Don't know. I'm
Okay.
not assigned. I was only assigned one game this season, but
Okay.
we'll see. Maybe there's more down the road.
Awesome. Well, fingers crossed for sure on that. All right. That's a great workout. And it's kind of fitting. That leads us into your amazing weight loss journey. You lost 150 pounds in 14 months, which, I mean, that is amazing, Brandon. First off, when was the moment you decided, hey, I need to make a change?
It was about a week and a half before April Fool's Day in 2021, and the reason why I say that is because I said, what better day to start than April Fool's Day? I just kind of got sick of feeling the way I felt. I was just completely always just tired and obviously slow and just not healthy. And my son at the time was about to turn 3, and he was much more active, getting active, running around a lot. And I wanted him to play some sports. And I was like, I got to get in shape so I can chase him around. And I want to live longer,
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
I just said, all right, I remember just going, all right, April 1st, I'm starting. I remember I bought an elliptical, and then I just started walking every day, and dieting. And it was as
Mm-hmm.
simple as that.
As far as dieting, what did you consult someone, or did you do this all on your own?
I didn't consult anyone. I've been on a diet before, and I lost like 62 pounds in the past, and of course gained that much more back. But I've used, this isn't a commercial. I used
Yeah.
Nutrisystem in the past, and
Okay.
it's very easy for me because it's like, here's your meal, here's your meal, here's your meal. Just buy fruits and veggies to go with it. So I did that. I just used that diet, and um 5 to 6 days a week, usually 6 days a week, I would go walk every day 3 to 5 miles outside.
Oh, wow.
And then when the weight started falling off, I started trying to jog a little bit and walk. It was just a progression, but the weight literally just melted off of me.
Wow. I mean, that's amazing. That's over 10 pounds a month. Did it ever get to a point where I mean, you said it was immediate, so that had to help in terms of feedback and keeping going. So was there ever a point where you're like, man, this just didn't work and I don't know what to do? Or was it just
No,
you went
it
and you were
was
doing it?
it was pretty consistent, and I was, you asked my wife, I was pretty obsessed with it. Like I wouldn't, like, someone go, hey, just have a chip, or something, something like that. I go, nope, not happening, not doing it. I was like, I'm not doing this. I became very obsessed with it. um and the problem was is that I lost all that weight, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't doing like strength training or anything. I was just out there walking and jogging. And so like I remember I go, okay, I remember looking at myself in the mirror and going, man, I look like a almost like a skeleton, look like a and so I went and like got like a personal trainer and started doing strength training, and it was amazing. They were like, you've got no core strength. You've got nothing.
Oh
And
wow.
it took like 6 months for me to even like be able to do some normal type stuff. And I did that for like a year and a half, a lot of strength training stuff. And then I went off on my own and started doing heavier weights and stuff. So that's what I've been doing for the better part of the last 2.5, 3 years, really 2.5 years, is just a lot of strength training. I'm trying to get the muscles that I never had that I should have had in high school.
Yeah, understandable. So if someone out there is like in a similar situation where they want to do something, what advice do you have for others who want to partake in a similar journey?
It's okay to set a goal, like, this is how much weight I want to lose, but the better goal is just to tell yourself why you want to do it. What are the things you're going to be able to do that you can't do right now? What is limiting you because of your weight or your health? And for me, that was my motivation. My motivation was my son, and to be alive when he's graduating school, graduating college, moving on in his life, and he's starting his own life. And then, not to be too morbid, but we live near a cemetery, and so when I would go walk every day, I'd walk through the cemetery, and that was kind of a motivation. I know that sounds morbid, but that was it.
No.
And whenever I go walk, I still do that.
Well, I mean, where you can find motivation, you got to find it and use it, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And that was it for me. It got me going every single day.
That's amazing. Now, did you have a specific goal when you started? Did you start out going, "Hey, I want it to be 150 and this is where we're going."
No, I wanted to get under 200 pounds because I was 324 pounds. And I, at my lowest, I was at about 172, 173. But it was more like 174. So I got there and I was like, and I looked very, very thin. I even had some coworkers when I would go to Nashville for some meetings. They were like, man, very proud of you, but you look like you lost too much weight. I'm like, really?
Mm,
So that's about when I stopped and started doing the strength training. And I've gained a lot of weight, just in mostly muscle, but also some fat with it. We call it
mm-hmm.
bulking, I guess, or whatever. But
Yeah.
I'm healthy. I feel great. For example, going on the sideline Saturday and doing what I did in that heat, and I was
Mm-hmm.
running around. No way I would have been able to do that 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I would have collapsed within like the first like 20 minutes being out there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because I mean, as hot as it was, and then you're wearing the coat and tie and everything else. Yeah, it's unbelievable. So when you hit the goal, or when you got there, was there ever? It was like you went in immediately into strength training, so I guess that prevented you from going into the, well, I did that, now what? And because when we hit goals, we tend to take our foot off the gas a little bit because that's just human nature. But you didn't have that issue, right?
No, in fact, I think I stayed on that diet and then I added some more things to it for like another 6 months or so. And I remember even my trainer at the time was all like, "What's your diet?" And I was giving it to her, and she's like, "You need to be eating more if you want to like actually gain muscle, dude." I'm like, "Oh, okay," because I'm just dumb. When it comes to that stuff, I just go somewhat. But I'm the type of person where if I can trust you, tell me what to do, I will follow it to a
Mm-hmm.
T. Like I'm one of
Mm-hmm.
those people. I'm just give me a list, and that's
Yeah.
what they did, and it was fantastic. Then the muscle started to come on.
Nice. So just the awesome stick to itness. So after all of this, the whole process, what did you learn from the process, and then what did you learn about yourself maybe that you didn't know beforehand?
I have an addictive personality to a certain extent. Like if I put my mind on something, I'll do it. A lot of that's always been focused on work and things like that. I'm very much a singular focus type of person. I had never done that for myself really in maintaining my health. And I was always doing things for others or work or doing stuff for work. And I realized I need to do things for myself. And so during that time, I realized that I've got all the time in the world in a lot of ways. I think a lot of us do, even though we say we're busy. And it's very difficult to do. But at the time, I just said it's important for me that I carve out 2 hours of time every day to myself, where the only person I'm thinking about or doing anything about is me. And so that was the number one thing that, and then I've learned that and carried it forward. Is like I've got to take time for myself, otherwise I can't help other people or be the best version of myself for others.
Oh, that's good. Is it still hard though to come
Oh
up
yeah,
with the 2 hour time, especially now in the middle of football season? Because I
yeah, and
imagine that's a huge challenge, right?
to be quite honest, I haven't done that at all really since probably late May. Like being able to like consistently do that, and in fact, like I haven't been to the gym in 3 weeks, and like so I feel I have this guilt in my back of my brain at all times right now. Even now, like I need to get back to the gym. I need to get back to the gym, and so in fact, I think tomorrow I'm going. The way I've got my schedule worked out, I'm going to do that. But there's always some. It's like this to every college football season. It's very hard to do stuff, but the goal is to at least when I have the time to go do it.
Awesome. Well, I've got some college football questions for you, if you
Okay.
don't mind. We will see that. Okay, UCLA and Virginia Tech fired their head coaches, but it also opens the portal for 30 days. We've never had a portal open during the season. What do we expect to happen as a result?
It depends on how close some of these players were to the coaches, especially the head coach, because a lot of the coaches that are still there are going to hang around to the end of the year. This will mostly be for kids that realize that they're probably going to redshirt this season. So if they decide well, I wasn't going to play anyway, then they'll enter the portal and start kind of starting that process of other schools reaching out to them. But also remember, they can enter the portal, but they can't go play somewhere this season.
Okay.
So that this fall for a lot of players, if you enter the portal, you're just giving up on the year, and you're not going to be able to do anything until January when off-season practices start at another school. So um, you'll probably see a few guys enter the portal, but I don't think it's going to be anything like very, very drastic. Now, can you imagine a world where they're immediately eligible to play somewhere else? That would be interesting. And now that I'm
Yes.
putting that out into the universe, I'm sure some lawyers out there would be willing to try and sue the NCAA over that this year if they had a profile player to do that. And I guarantee you that there's people out there who are thinking about that right this moment.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me at all. And as a result of this, and since we don't really know how it plays out, could schools be reluctant to do something similar, realizing that the portal opens and you could be without a roster?
Yes, I think it does make people reluctant. And most schools, I think, are going to wait till the end of the year or near the end of the year, unless it's a situation like UCLA or Virginia Tech where there was just no hope. I mean, both teams were
Hmm.
terrible. They were 0-3, um, lost to group of five schools badly at home, like got blown out at home by both of them the same weekend. I don't know if there's a lot of other schools out there that are going to be in those type of positions. The school everybody's looking at now is Florida and Billy Napier. They're
Hmm.
not that bad, but they're in a situation where if they're starting to lose a fan base, fans aren't attending games like they would and everything, then you might make a decision in the middle of the year. But you're exactly right. The one thing that's going to deter a lot of them is they don't want to have players leaving in the middle of the year and then have another portal obviously open at the end of the year that they have to deal with.
Yeah, and as of now, the portal will only be in April, right? Unless you have
January.
January. That's right. Unless you have a coaching change.
Right. Right. But the idea is that at the end of the year, when it's like December 1, you make that change. What you're really doing is that you're opening the portal for your players to enter from December 1st, so to speak, all the way till January 11th or 12th. Instead of 30 days, you're just extending it another 10 or 15 days instead of saying you have a 30-day period here. And then another 12 or 10-day period here. But yeah, the new portal window starts this year, and it's not until January 2nd, and it goes through the 12th.
Yeah, and then the other downside to the portal, okay, you have guys going in. You want to retain guys, but you don't have a head coach, and you won't have a head coach until the end of the season. So I don't know, you're like shooting both your feet off by making a move like this.
Yeah, you can't tell the players like, "Hey, stay here because it's going to be better next year." But we can't tell you the coaches are because most likely the coaches that are on that staff right there are not going to be there either. So, I mean, the kid better just like going to school there. That's pretty much the
Yeah,
only thing that would keep you there.
I mean, it's just it's fascinating because there's so many things that are going to involve that we've never experienced before. We don't know how to react.
And that's been going on the last 5 years. It's just always been one thing after another, unintended consequences, and then they try to fix it and then end up messing it up more.
Hey, appreciate the time.